Michael! Okay.
I called him Michael in week 1.
Okay.
And then onwards, he was just known as this really vile world destroyer.
People have been chatting a lot about Michael.
Yeah.
Bless him, he's
just an innocent duck.
He's just doing his work. He's just doing his job.
He is.
Of being a duck, I suppose. I don't think he's actually got gainful employment. But these players have gainful employment, as we're on to the final game of the day. Astralis need this win to keep things up in the air.
Yep.
Vanir need this win because they want to be getting good seeding, and because winning here, I think, will probably put them into playoffs, formally and officially, beyond any doubt.
Yes.
Because Riddle lost.
Yes, exactly. So Vanir winning here it would just 100%. It would put them into it's simple as that.
They're in, but we don't know where.
We just don't know where they will land.
That being said, though, because we've seen teams, Bifrost look pretty decent today.
Yeah.
But Vanir could be looking to maybe push up. That it's a case of getting it today. We can put it out of our minds. We know what we're doing. Let's now play for seeding. Whereas Astralis we need to win all our games. And even then, maybe not, as Wendell actually might be called out. But it's only Quicksef who gets there, so is going to back away. Is there anything, before we get into this game, well and truly and properly, that you want to quickly run over? I know our analyst did an excellent job of talking about the composition.
Yeah,
is there anything you want to highlight?
I think they did a great job. I think they highlighted just about everything you really need to. Astralis, it's about the team fighting. 2 items on, right? You need to just get to that point.
Yeah.
Relatively unscathed. Ignore the pause, of course. Or the reconnect issue fixed in the future. Noodle flashed.
Michael!
Hi, Michael.
What was that?
That was a dolphin.
What?
Can we take a look at the top jungle right now? Because Noodle is trying to aggress onto Taxa, and I believe, and I'll ask the observers to double check this, that he flashed over the back of Baron Pit Wall to make it to this blue buff very, very quickly to interrupt Taxa's farming path.
Doesn't have flash anymore, so...
Yeah, so whilst this looks quite awkward, I guess the argument is you're interrupting Hecarim from actually being able to do his job.
Taxa doesn't have a buff yet.
Yeah, Taxa doesn't have a buff yet. And also the other thing is, look at the minion waves in both the solo lanes here.
Yeah.
Mid lane, Sahira, actually at the moment wouldn't have first move, but I think for a majority of the play whilst that was happening, that was what's going on. Yeah, Noodle just flashed over the wall. He was going straight for the blue buff. I think they had a ward that Taxa was going to be starting on the wolves, and each wanted to go and interrupt that. And not only did he eventually succeed in his mission, he delayed Taxa so much that Taxa's only got 2 camps. And I would say this right now, if Noodle felt like crossing over through mid and interrupting what's happening here, the game feels very doomed. Yeah?
It'll be buff to buff to buff.
Shut up. No one's even going to get that. Do you know how sad that is? He's going to cross over to mid. Calm down. Okay, calm down. So I think Vision was actually collected there by Krez. So Krez knows that Noodle's coming over. So that's it. Wolves the only thing that lost. So he's been chased away from the buff. He's not going to be able to contest with the Skull Crab because Sahira's based and Kevo and Quicksef don't have priority. It's Astralis with bottom lane priority. So Tax is still going to get, of course, the bottom lane Skull Crab. But when you do the mental maths on it, it's what? 4 camps actually. What was Tax's 4th camp? He got Wolves on both sides, a Skull Crab.
Raptors.
Oh, he took Raptors.
He started Raptors.
Oh yeah, apologies. I'm blind. He started Raptors into Wolves, and then that's where the farming path was interrupted. But the jungle camps at the moment, he is far behind. When you think about it like this, the jungle camps for Noodle are going to be worth a little more. Noodle's clearing, if I'm going to be like super technical for a second while I have a chance to.
Okay.
Tax's camps are going to cycle out quicker now.
Yes.
Because Noodle's only been attacking buffs.
Yes.
With the exception of the Grump. But the Grump on Taxa's side is not going to respawn sooner. So it's delayed Taxa for now, and it's going to delay him for about another 2 rotations, give or take, if my maths is correct and I'm doing the 5D chess stuff correctly when it comes to the jungle. But for the immediate future, Noodle is going to be ahead 1-to-1. And let's see what he can actually do with that lead. Vanir very clearly came into this with an early game plan to deny the opportunity for Taxa to just have, a very easy going early game. But when you talk about tangible, results from this, the answer is not that much.
Well, this is the thing, right? Because there's the side of Noodle getting ahead, in quotation marks. There's the side of Taxa being forced behind. And then it's a question of, right, neither of these junglers has actually contributed to the map state yet, because they've both been busy interacting with each other, which is something that a lot of people don't always recognize in saying, this jungler is an early game jungler. That doesn't necessarily mean he's getting into lanes and ganking. This means that sometimes it's a case of just going in, denying the other jungler, making sure that it's a 4v5 later on, because Hecarim is so far behind. But whether Noodle's going to be successful in doing that and what the rest of the map state is going to be crucial, because we haven't talked about the other lanes really. Things are looking pretty good for Astralis across the board. Top lane, as you'd expect, is kind of rough because it's all into a ranged or mostly ranged champion. But past that, Astralis seems to be holding out fine. It's what Noodle can do to put this lead, in, again, quotation marks, to use. And right now that looks like just getting a bit of priority and grabbing the dragon.
Yeah, okay, so there's finally the tangible result of the early invades, I suppose, if you want to...
Yeah, but Mountain Dragon, they could have got that anyway.
Yeah, I think there's a solid chance that they probably could have gotten this one anyway. Again, you talk about Ryze now, should have priority in the mid lane for a majority of his time laning there. On the bottom side, you know, it can be forced occasionally, but it's going to always be very difficult with Jinx and Lulu on the bottom side, and now Taxa. Let's see, what's he looking for here? Any kind of information? Potentially he wanted to go and invade the bottom side of the map with the hero on a reset timer. Reasonable time to go and do it. You have the bottom side pushing in as well, so I think that was the goal, but once he sees Noodle's trail, the camouflage trail on that walk, he knows that he's in the area, probably taking the buff. No use trying to go for the invade. Then at that, looks like Astralis will just go for the reset. See whether or not they look for some kind of Herald play in a minute's time. But yeah, I mean, all things probably going okay in Astralis' minds right now. I think losing that early dragon probably to be expected.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things. That's just going to be about item tracking, and I think we just look at this game until it starts to matter for Astralis' point of view, from Vanir's point of view, because right now, I feel like they really need to press the issue somewhere. They have the ultimate available for Noodle, Heartbreaker is online. So Viego's skirmishing power just got a lot scarier.
Yes.
And now I want to try and see him use, you know, any one of these lanes. He's got set up across the board, realistically. It's just about having the information to make sure that the gank sticks and isn't countered by a different member of Astralis. Because right now, Taxa should be cresting over the level 6 mark very, very soon. I imagine this Scuttle Crab, maybe, would... No, still a little bit too far away. So Scuttle Crab blue buff. Yep. And he should hit level 6. And then that's when, you know, Taxa can try and look for some place somewhere when needs be. Oh, he thinks 6 now. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a lot of XP from that Skull Crab, okay.
Moving towards mid lane, Zahira and Quickstep are there. He's going to be spoiling out that red ward, and we'll be taking that one down in short order. Everyone's moving towards this mid lane because, of course, Rift Herald is up. Zahira has to flash over the Chompers as Chrisberg has made his way to the mid lane as well. But it looks like Astralis are moving up and potentially trying to get the priority in the start on this Rift Herald. But Taxa immediately backing away, seeing how many members of Vanir are there. This is going to be close. In the top side, it's Nar who comes through first. There's engagement quick. Nice on him onto 2. Caught by the shockwave, though, as we see Zahira moving on forward, looking towards Wendell. Goes low first blood with the Heartbreaker. Astralis trying to run away. Taxa called out for the second. Crest going to be followed through. Caught up with the anchor. Knocked away. Caught for the third. It's all Noodle all the time as he picks up a triple.
And as a Vanir fan, you're rooting for this team. I don't know if there's a better player to see to get a triple kill right now than Noodle. When we see Noodle get these leads, he very often can take over the game with them. A triple kill on the Viego. He's going to have a ton of gold, actually, and we'll check that after this replay as the initial engage comes through from Crixef, and just a massive ultimate. The shockwave is great at dissipating some of the aggression, but realistically, it's only landing onto Crixef, and this is when the Heartbreaker reset starts to come down. The slow from the Glitter Lance, taken by Noodle, keeps Taxa in place so that the Heartbreaker into a Blade of the Ruin King can secure that kill, and another dredge line on to this Orianna. Onto Krez, Noodle finds his mark with the charge into another Heartbreaker reset. 3.8k. He had a recurve bonus inventory, so my best guess is he's rushed the Blade of the Ruin King. Of course, with the itemization changes, you do see a lot of different builds. Now, as a Viego enjoyer myself, I have recently been testing some of these builds. I think there's a couple of very viable ones. Blade of the Ruin King Rush into this composition, it's audacious, but I like it, and I think it's very Noodle. To be honest with you. And I think the fact that the Iron Spike's so hard, you know, when you think about Blade of the Ruin King champions, they all spike incredibly hard once they get the Iron up. So if you're talking about the context of this game of, okay, we need to get the ball rolling, he's picked up a 10-minute Blazer King. Nobody on this map can skirmish this Viego. So wherever Viego goes, expect bodies to drop. But again, it's going to be about Vanir actually finding these opportunities and trying to force the issue to ensure that Noodle can get into these scraps and use this advantage that he has now.
We've seen, so we talked about Vanir wanting to, they needed to do something, right? Which was massively important for them. They needed to get the ball rolling, and they just got a triple kill on their Viego, who was the person that we were watching in the early game saying, you're getting all the stuff done, this is where all the action is, what can you do with it? Triple kill, great stuff. Ruin King and now Boots as well, so he's going to be able to get into fights a little bit easier. And we're saying, look, Vanir need to push the issue. Every time they push the issue, is it just elongating the amount of time that they have to continue pushing the issue? If that, I said pushing the issue a lot in that context. Yeah. So essentially, they got a lot. You said they need to get something done. They got something done. Are they needing to? Are they still looking to get something done?
100%. Just so it keeps the window as close to closed for Astralis for as long as possible.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I think no matter how you slice it, once the Astralis team composition comes online, things will start to get difficult for Vanir. Vanir's champions, admittedly, they're all actually pretty good at team fighting, to be honest with you. But I think if you're talking about team cohesion, the way that the team combo interact with one another, it just looks a bit smoother for Astralis on paper, I think. And some of the execution floor is going to be a bit difficult to reach for Vanir, but it's definitely not unattainable.
I think looking at that charge on that Rift Herald, I don't think Kevo actually got any gold from it, looking at the animation. I think it all went on to Viego, so...
the very easy way to check this is how much gold does Noodle have in his inventory? Yeah, okay. Yeah, he got all the gold.
Which is fine. Again, that would look like a mistake because Kevo was just forced a little bit away from the tower.
At the end of the day, Kevo has almost got enough gold to actually pick up his first item, I'm pretty sure. And Noodle, giving him more gold in the position he's in, I don't think it's a terrible idea. Nilay's on one item as well on the top side, so he's got the whole breaker advantage. Now they're going to try and force play on the bottom side.
Here are the bus driver looking to get the dive going. Chrisberg needs to be careful alongside Wendell, but the teleport comes through to play a little bit. And now Tax is en route. I don't know if I like the chances of Astralis trying to re-engage this play, but they do effectively defend themselves.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they get Krez's teleport. And remember, this is still before 40 minutes, so that's a very lengthy teleport cooldown. That's not going to be up until around 16 minutes. Oh, no, sorry, I beg your pardon, 18 minutes or so into the game now. It depends on whether or not Krez brought inspiration with him to have, of course, Cosmic Insight. So, yeah, it's honestly a fine trade for Vanir. You trade Realm Walk, which is going to be up in about 2.5 minutes' time now. And you can just go for the repeat play, and this time, Krez won't have teleport. Still going to be on cooldown. And he should be A-okay with that one. So Vanir, they forced the play, but it's kind of pushed away from them. They got 3 minutes now until this Hextra Dragon spawns up. I think the most important thing for us to track in this moment in time is just going to be item completion.
Okay.
For this third dragon.
Yeah.
And who actually has what. Right now, relatively even across the board. The only major discrepancy, really, it's Noodle to Taxa. Naturally, though, as the Hecarim, especially in a comp that's got a Lulu and an Orianna in it, he doesn't necessarily need items to function or to play his role. Yeah. All he really needs to do is kind of just charge in, cause a lot of chaos on the backline, and, you know, give Astralis an opportunity to have Chrisberg open up, have Crest find a really strong shockwave. So it's not the end of the world that right now Noodle has an item lead, but it just means they have to watch out for Noodle and ensure that he's not being enabled too hard by the rest of Vanir.
And isn't resetting, because if team fight you give up a kill, suddenly things become a much more difficult prospect, especially if Tax is going into the backline and getting blown up. Then Noodle can turn around and be the one running in.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to jump out of that one with a lot more damage.
That's the only scary thing about Tax being, you know, far behind them.
Yes.
Is exactly as you say. He dives in, doesn't achieve much, dies. All of a sudden, even though Noodle might be, you know, siphoning and possessing a weaker champion than himself, he's given himself the opportunity to just go back in and misplace somebody before turning back into Viego anyway. So, yeah, that's definitely the scary thing about Taxa being behind right now. Good pickup up. Looks like they're just going for the bottom play.
Going towards Kevo. The ultimate will not land. It will only get the fear, but that's taking Kevo in the direction he wants to have gone anyway. And Taxa, blue ghost, blue ultimate. Noodles coming here to blue up health bars. Goes towards Wendell, half health. Needs to dive away with the Heartbreaker. As teleport coming on through. Vanir are looking to commit members. They're looking to get this fight going. Astralis actually unstoppable, but the ultimate lands on to do. Taxa needs to be careful. Back away. First gonna fight. Goes over as Wendell pulls Nilla on the side, looking looking towards Kress, who's hanging around. The ultimate from Chrisberg only hits on the Kevin, but doesn't get too much work done. As Astralis lose a member back away, this tower will be forfeit as well. Objective bounties are available soon, which will be some solace to Astralis, you have to imagine, and another tower will fall.
Yeah, but it just doesn't look great for Astralis right now. Vanir, their gold lead is ballooning significantly, 5,000 gold ahead. Dragons up in 1 minute's time. They should be able, Vanir, to even have enough time to pick up this Herald and then maybe still play for the Dragon. I think it would be a little bit over audacious, over eager. And Noodle, I think, reads this, drops off this side of the map, and it should be Astralis' objective to take. Noodle gonna reset. I think it's the right call. Vanir across the map gonna reset, pick up their items. I was about to call it Eternal Winter because I've been playing too much TFT, but it's Everfrost. Picked up Force the Hero. And it actually looks like we're gonna see a tank ion come out of Noodle. Which one it will be, a tank mythic rather,
yes,
to be very specific. Which one that will be is up to his discrepancy. I would imagine probably Chemtech.
Gives that a little bit of extra engage,
yeah, it just gives you a little bit more access to the backline, if any. Personally, I would have loved to have seen a little more aggression come out. Something like the Divine Thunder, something like a Triforce even, I think. In a game like this could have worked out if you're trying to assassinate some of the backline carries as a very, very fed Viego.
Yeah.
But I think bring some sustainability to his build right now. I think he can kind of understand the thought process behind it. And uncontested on this Dragon. I think, you know, the handshake has been had for this Herald and Dragon, and now attacks up, pathing up towards the top side, wants to drop this one down. You would guess more times than not. And Vanir reading the map relatively well, not sending anybody up to the top side to get dove. Nile's on the bottom side, but there's no tower to hit on right now, so this should just be a tower surplus trade for Astralis. A lot of pings going on the map right now, particularly from the red side.
There's
in the river.
Fight going on. Wendell's gone.
Yeah.
Just gets caught out by Quickseth, and then Noodle was there. Chrisberg taking a whole heap of damage. Doesn't get sniped out though with the flash being used. The tower does go down on the top side, which would be kind of nice for the goal situation as Vanir chasing down Carlson. Nille just putting so much damage and goes large. So can't chase forward. Noodle actually then cut down the Rift Herald in the top lane to make sure that the second tower doesn't go down to give another bounty over. But Jamara, talk to me. So, Astralis, their composition comes online at some point.
Yeah.
I was seeing an exchange in the bot side, actually exchange in the mid side as well, and that's going to be kill onto Tax. He's too squishy, cannot survive the damage.
How does that even happen underneath the tower like that? Realistically.
Or should they have been there defending at that point?
I'd have to see it from the very beginning. Obviously, we cut to the middle of Taxa kind of being murdered. I think Vanir, if they want to force this tower, they can. They might respect a little bit. It seems like that will be the case. Don't want to get shockwave, don't want to get chased down.
Just got top lane for free as well, so.
Yeah, and it's Noodle that picks up the gold yet again. And Noodle probably has enough gold to pick up another item on his reset, if I had to wager a guess. Let's see what it is. I'm very curious. Ice Ball, or Ice Fire, or Frost Fire.
Frost Fire,
yeah.
You got there in the end.
Thank you.
Good thing you're not a League of Legends analyst, isn't it? That'd be embarrassing if you were.
Horrible if I was.
Awful. Just terrible. But let's look at this very quickly. So we've kind of been drawing this line of Vanir need to continually be doing stuff. Astralis come online eventually. Things look good for them if they can survive. First things first, we've got Vanir playing for Dragon's Soul point.
In 3 minutes.
Dragon's Hextech Dragon's Soul gets picked up.
Yep.
Do we take that narrative and throw it out the window?
Yeah, I think Hextech Soul is so powerful. I remember, and it's not really been altered too much in what it actually does to the Soul. Back in preseason, when the dragon who we shall not name was still in the game.
Yeah.
Any combination with that dragon and its Soul, when collected, had a win rate of like 90%. And just put this into context, when a Dragon Soul is collected, and this is coming from solo queue stats from quite a few patches ago, but I believe that they will still be relevant. The other dragons, with the exception of Hextech, which had a little bit of a higher win rate, in contrast, was around 75-ish%.
Yeah, about
with
that.
With a Soul 1, or with a Soul collected. That team would typically win around 75% of the time. Chemtech Soul, the
one that we don't name, we just
one,
did, but it's fine, don't worry about it.
Was at 90%, the Hextech was about 80, 85. So Hextech Soul is actually still very, very strong. The raw stats it provides, I think personally might be the best in the game.
Okay.
The flat haste and attack speed, when stacked up 4 times, I'll take that. Potentially even, the only dragon I wouldn't take over is the raw stats of Inferno.
I like Elder Dragon personally.
Elder Dragon's quite good. Axa is getting absolutely...
Zahira's just putting out the damage. We haven't really spoken about Zahira this game because there's been so much going on, but he's having a really solid performance.
And not only that, this is Zahira on his rise.
Exactly.
It's not even something that's really been mentioned too much today. If you are a longer-term viewer of the NLC, you will know Zahira is very much a Rise enjoyer and also a Victor enjoyer. And typically what you ended up seeing a lot of teams do versus Vanir was remove Rise, remove Victor, and then maybe a third champion if they were feeling it. And then all of a sudden, it felt like Zahira was a bit less of a threat on the map compared to his other champions.
Yes.
This split, it's not quite been the same. He's shown a lot more flexibility and teams have dropped off that. And on top of that, there's other very important picks to be removing away, unlike when that was occurring.
Going for the Realm Warp. Krez is in a lot of trouble and Severa call out by the Shockwave, but it does not matter one iota as Zahira runs away. And I want to just highlight Zahira a little bit quickly, just in terms of the grand scheme of things. Remember, this guy was in Division 2 last year.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Comes in, qualifies through to the NLC on a different roster, which then became X7. So, goes on to a different NLC roster. Has been playing so well, has had such solid performances on a Vanir side who, frankly, a lot of people weren't rating going into the season. And now we're talking about them a couple of weeks left of the season. Hey, this could be the team that's going into the top 4. And we were talking about this way back in like week 2 and saying, well, ease schedule, blah, blah, blah. They had to play everyone in the schedule, and they're still here, still fighting for it, fighting for Soul Dragon as well. Up against Astralis Talent, who have had the opposite fortunes this season, all things considered, down near the bottom.
Hero on the flank, maybe.
Hero is on the flank. He hasn't got ultimate available, but he's got the blast going to get into pit if he needs a quick option.
He can also take the gate if he has to go back to his team.
This is true. He can dive in behind, but it won't be the best position as the two teams' lines of scrimmage fighting over the final dragon. Astralis cannot afford to let this one go down. Vanir, this would likely be the closing curtain for them if they can secure it themselves. But Carlson going in, wants to get engaged. So here's the one call out, flashes away, quick stuff in the backline. Nilla is there as well, but he's not angry yet, he's not mega yet, as Carlson could be in trouble. That's the first kill of the fight going on to Quicksev as Noodle has to back away. Vanir are fading away into the jungle. A second one taken down. Astralis Talent grab themselves the dragon, deny Soul for now. And because they've got all 5 members, they're going to move towards the Baron.
Yeah, they can do it. I think they can. I think the health bars are a little bit too low from the Vanir side, and Astralis, they get the team fight they need. I think crucially, they lose this. That's it. I feel like that would have just been the nail in the coffin for them. They have the 2 items on Krez. They have 2 items on Chrisberg. This was the time that they needed to fight. They managed to claw together the resources to be able to contest Vanir at this dragon, and they did it well. Vanir, I won't say the lack of engage options, but only having Quicksev as kind of that engage as the only option, whilst the rest of the team is kind of being dove. It feels kind of bad when Quicksev can't get any follow-up on this engage, and from then, Chrisberg untouched, pretty much. Just absolutely minces through the entirety of Vanir here.
Carries can't do anything. They're just completely zoned away. As soon as they back away from the Hecarim engage, the Ornn ultimate comes through, and suddenly you've got Kevo and Zahira like, well, Zahira's half health and hasn't got flash, and Kevo isn't anywhere near the fight because he's not got the range to get involved. Oh no, I guess we lose these 2 objectives. Bounty's on top of them. So now we have to go back to the question we've been asking all game. Vanir, this is the first time they've taken their foot off the pedal. Astralis, now, are they in the driving seat? Is this a winning Baron? Not necessarily, you don't win off this Baron, obviously. Is this a Baron where they get the lead, or is this just to stabilize?
This is a Baron to stabilize. I was just taking a look. Oh, okay, I couldn't see that Chrisberg was actually on the tower, so I was wondering why there was no gold outline on the bottom tier 2, but it's because it was on the bottom tier 1 instead. So yeah, objective bounty is still there. They have just fizzled off.
Yes, with that tower.
So for now, this is a bit of a stabilizing dragon and giving themselves more time. Vanir, losing that dragon's big. It might hurt them.
Slows them down, surely.
In terms of their, in terms of their capability to have a lot of agency. Here as Moonlight Vigil will be called down with the Gravitum to slow Tax's advance. It's a tool blown at effectively no cost, and now Astralis, they can aggress onto this mid lane tower pretty much for free. So Heroes on the bottom side pushing in. Actually, so is Nille on the top side, so they have potential for a pincer here into the mid lane. Astralis, yeah, doing the right thing. Back away, both sides. Don't want to get engaged on by a Realm War at this moment in time. And I think they can leave happy for now. They still have a minute left on the Baron, but I don't think they should be able to accomplish too much more. Vanir lose a lot of momentum off this. And I mean, take a look at the items. Now, Chrisberg, off the back of that fight, was able to finish up an entire third item. He's in half an item up on Kevo at the moment.
And it's an ornament.
And it's an ornament.
Typhoon secured. Haven't even quizzed you on the ornaments yet. This game's been all action. But this is the thing, though, because now we've got an interesting dynamic where Vanir, they're still ahead.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, the gold still looks good for them. Noodle is still an absolute monster. We've got Zahira, who has picked up his third item as well, and that tier is stacked out for Thimblewinter. So he's going to be doing a lot of damage, but also very hard to take down. What's the next move for Vanir here? What do they want to be doing? Are they just waiting things out and going for that next dragon, which spawns in 2 minutes' time?
Yeah, I think the safest bet for now is to wait for that next dragon, but I think they have to approach the fight differently. I think if they try and front to back, like, well, they didn't necessarily try to front to back. They got front to back on.
Yes.
But if they allow themselves to be in a situation where the fight occurs as a front to back, I don't think they're going to win anymore. I think right now, Chrisberg is more than online. Taxa, Carlson, they're tanky enough to do their job and soak up all the damage from Zahira and Kevo for the meantime and just disrupt them from dealing damage. I think Vanir have to find backline access one way or another, whether it comes from Nile teleporting in and finding a flank and getting a massive Naro, whether it's Zahira with a Realm Walk to try and enclose Astralis into some kind of choke. They have to do something. They have to find the access onto Chrisberg, onto Krez. Because if they don't, they are just going to lose this game if they try and front to back. They can't quite do it as well as Astralis can, in my opinion. And what's going to make trying to find backline access really hard is that there's the Lulu in the game as well. Going to have to deal with the Wild Growth, going to have to deal with Polymorph. It's going to be a very difficult task to manage, but I think it's the task that Vanir have at hand. And if they can try and take control of the river and be the first ones in the river, I think that definitely helps them. But the issue is, Astralis' comp kind of doesn't care. It's got enough engaged tools to kind of just go. And even right now, it just seems like Astralis is just going to retake control themselves. And yeah, that just always walking into objective second, it always feels bad regardless of how you want the team to fight. And now Astralis actually could find an engage here because they are pincering onto the mid lane.
Noodle needs to be careful. He's fighting his way through Carlson, but will get zapped up now. In the bot side, there's also a fight going on as Zahira might have been caught out, but they're looking towards the Viego. Carlson is chasing forward, looking for the knockout. Won't be able to find it, but does get a little bit of damage. Where's the ultimate? It's going to be dodged away from it. It doesn't matter because Jinx secures the kill.
Relay in the top side.
Now looking to catch members down. There's a teleport coming on through to defend. It's Carlson up against Nilla. I think this tower will be forfeit as Vanir looking to fight the rest of Astralis. The damage comes down on Taxa is pretty big. They've got themselves on the Chrisberg. He's trying to find a way. Zahira's doing damage. Chrisberg goes golden, but can they take down the Jinx? Yes, they can. That is huge.
They're surviving.
And now they're going to move forward. They haven't lost a member in this engagement just yet, as Quicksilver is trying to look towards Wendell. Cress will move down to the side. He's going to be able to get away.
Get the soul.
Get the soul. This is what Vanir need. Are they back on track?
They might be, this because the soul is so powerful in the combat stats that it provides, and obviously the AoE slow. Nile almost. If he felt like flashing, I think he could have maybe had presence of mind to recognize Krez, had a stopwatch in his inventory. And Kevo, unfortunately, the Moonlight Vigil doesn't find Chrisberg as well. Otherwise, I think he just dies so much faster than he does. But brilliant stopwatch to try and buy some time. The Shockwave as well finds Kevo and Zahira. Astralis do everything they can to deny what feels like the inevitable from that Fog of War engage from Vanir. Not able to survive it, unfortunately. They lose Kevo, and once they lose Kevo, that's it in this particular engagement, because Vanir have the rest of the numbers around them to go back to the dragon, pick that up, and secure the Hextech Soul. And now with the Soul, I think Soul bonus, of course the mini stack shift with the slow, I think it's going to be pretty oppressive in terms of, you know, well, doing its job, slowing people down, especially you think about there's not too much mobility between the Jinx and Orianna. It's effectively, you know, buffed up by the spells of basically just Wendell and Dissonance, and you kind of hope that's enough. But in terms of mobility in the traditional sense of dashes and
they're not able to get away from slows as effectively.
Exactly.
Of course, you've got the Typhoon on the Jinx, who's going to be able to get that small dash and the flashes when they're up, but they're not up on these two key carries. So now we've got to ask, Baron is up now.
Yeah.
We're going to see an engage coming through. Chrisberg going to go low, going to be taken out by the flanking Mini-Gnar. And you know what, Vanir might be able to do something here. They're looking to chase onto members of Astralis, but a slow from Crest will disengage. But with the Jinx gone, surely that's a Baron attempt at least.
Has to be, but did you just see the damage that Crest did? Nile, I think, still had the isolated Hullbreaker damage or resistances. if Vanir aren't careful, they can get caught out by a killer combo of Shockwave and an ultimate from Ornn, so they have to space themselves out. The damage is coming into the Baron. It's going to drop for sure.
Nile's not angry at all, so he's just going to be trying to take away as many. That Baron is going very, very low. It's 2,000 as the call of the Forge God is used. It's going to be secured by Noodle, 5v4, and now on Vanir, they're the ones looking to get engaged. Sahira's taking his team towards the enemies. We'll be able to get the slowdown, but it's only onto Carlson. But the Ornn, he's a big target. They're moving forward towards Wendell as well. Taxa rides back through and gets some damage down onto the Rise, who just doesn't die. He's so tanky as Vanir are moving forward, giving this Baron empowerment to all of their minions. We've got Sahira going back, but has teleport. Can Vanir finish this one up?
They should be able to. The dredge line goes wide, and so the Spectral Wall. Noodle, he's in trouble.
He's going to be caught out here, but Nina comes in. That's a massive Nara ultimate. The damage is huge. Vanir, it took them. They stumbled, they faltered, but they did not die. And breaking into the base, they'll be able to secure themselves a place in playoffs. Astralis talent, it was close in the middle, but they just couldn't finish it.
It looked so damn good for Astralis once they picked up that Baron for just a brief moment, but Vanir take the fights when it matters, and Nile steps up to the plate with a game-winning Nara ultimate to secure themselves their position in playoffs, and that's one less position available.
Yeah, I mean,
to Astralis as well. And you have to think about it like that. I mean, not that they were ever going to take Vanir's position.